chance to tune in and get ready. And so before we can jump on. All right, I think we're live. I just got the thumbs up. Hi, good morning, everyone. Sarah Forgany here, and I have an exciting and interesting story to talk about. And I have with me Rochelle Munoz from A to Z Sleep Solutions, so she can answer your questions. I got to tell you, Rochelle, one of the most common topics that comes up now that I have a baby, everyone is always telling me about their kids and the sleep problems and how they're exhausted and they can't put their babies or even like older children to bed in the middle of the night because they're just crawling out of bed and going to sleep with their parents. So I think you're going to hopefully make a lot of parents happy after this conversation.
And I hope so.
Yeah, I think you helped me when we did the story earlier answer so many questions. And folks, if you have your questions, I want you to write them down so Rochelle can answer them for you. We can cover sleep regression. We can cover good routines, things that you shouldn't do for your baby to get them prepared to go to sleep. So we're going to be talking about all of that. I'm going to be looking at my phone while we're discussing this to take your questions as well. So Rochelle, let's begin. First of all, I want to give people a background about you. You are a certified pediatric sleep consultant. A lot of people are like, wait, that's a thing? We didn't even know that existed. So talk to me about that. What is it?
Yeah, so I had my first son, he's 5 now, and he was a great sleeper until he hit that 4-month sleep regression. And I was teaching at the time and trying to function, be a wife, be a mom, work. And I wasn't doing it because he started waking up throughout the night. And so I was just exhausted and knew there had to be a way to get this baby back to sleep. I knew he could, but he wouldn't. So I did my own research, found a program, and went and got certified to do it. It worked with my son, and I was like, this is magic. Why doesn't everyone know about this? And so I started my own business, and that was 4 years ago. And now I've helped tons of families, and it ranges. Some families just need a quick tip here and there to see success. Some need a complete overhaul. It really is customized to every family. And all we're looking for is to figure out how to get that family the sleep they need.
It really can affect quality of life terribly.
Absolutely.
You can't sleep at night. So what ages can you train?
Sure. So as far as training goes, if our goal is to get them sleeping through the night, you're typically looking somewhere around that 13-pound mark, which is usually 3-4 months. Now, I work with mommies who are still pregnant and they want to start off on the right foot. And of course, that's going to look a little different. Our goal isn't going to be sleeping through the night, but setting up good routines and good habits. And then I have coached kids all the way up to about 9 years old. They're still getting up in the middle of the night, going to their parents' bed. Parent isn't getting any sleep. Kid isn't getting any sleep. And of course, that looks very different than how would we treat a 3-6-month-old baby. So it's a wide range, and there's really not one solution that's going to fit every kiddo. That's why it's so important that I get to know the families.
So obviously, every child is different, not only age-wise, but even personality-wise. There isn't like just a plan that you hand out that goes for every 8-year-old, right? It doesn't work.
I wish. Right. Yeah, there are going to be techniques that are similar, but how it's implemented, when it's implemented, and how much coaching the parents need also varies greatly.
So let's talk about the very basics. First of all, when can you begin training your baby? How early?
So newborns can have a nice routine set from day one. Like I said, we're not going to take feeds away from a newborn. That's not going to be the goal. But you can absolutely start setting up good habits. Now, if your goal is, I'm removing night feeds, I want this baby sleeping for a full 12 hours, they need to be around that 13, 15-pound mark. And that is typically around 3 to 4 months. So most of the babies that come to me are going to be somewhere between those 3 to 6 months. And then we can get them sleeping through the night.
And I remember when you walked through my house, I was doing all these things for my little baby who, just to give our viewers a quick background here, when I called Rochelle, my baby was 4 months old at the time. She just turned 4. She's now 6 months. So I've been testing this out for, last 2 months or so. But Rochelle came over and I thought I was doing all these things right. I had a mobile. I was swaddling her. I had the pacifier. I had all the bells and whistles that you would need for your kid, thinking that this brings them comfort and would put her to sleep better. But you were like, no, none of that works.
Yeah, and it really depends on the age. So with a newborn, we're absolutely still going to swaddle. You can use a pacifier during certain times of the day. But as your baby grows older, if we keep those things, then they become a sleep prop or a crutch, something that they now rely on in order to go to sleep. And when they're only 3 or 4 months old, they can't reach around and find that pacifier and put it back in their mouth. They would need you to do that, which is why it's a sleep prop. That's why it has to be removed if we want them to be able to connect those sleep cycles on their own. So they're not bad things, but if your goal is that you don't have to go in and intervene, then you got to get rid of them.
Right. One of the things that surprised me was that you said, stop swaddling. It's time to let that go. And I was really relying on it. I thought, well, that's what gives her comfort. What do you mean stop swaddling?
Right. And I usually recommend keeping a swaddle up until about that 8 or 9 week mark. At that point, if you continue to keep them swaddled, you're probably going to have it turn into a prop. And then when they start getting close to rolling, then it becomes unsafe. So it's really important that, yes, you let them have their arms. It may cause some disruptions those first few nights, but they will adjust. You have to give them that time, though.
Yeah, and I was surprised that she actually slept pretty well after I stopped swaddling. The first few nights, again, it wasn't, but eventually I think she liked it better. She got used to it that way. Yeah. So, and this is, okay, folks. So Rochelle, you can train your child to sleep, you said anywhere between 10 to 12 hours straight at night. And you can do that in just days.
Yes. And a lot of times when families finally reach out to me, they say, I've tried everything, and what they usually mean by that is I've tried one thing for a few nights, another thing another night. Then I changed it because that didn't work that night. And they haven't stuck to one clear message with their baby. When we change things every few nights on them, baby has no idea what they're supposed to do. So of course they're going to be really fussy because they're just like, where's that bottle that you used to give me? Or where is my pacifier? They just want a consistent message. And so usually what I'm really doing is just giving that parent the confidence to say, hey, stick with this, do this right here and hang in there. Call me when you need me. You can get through it. Because if we send a consistent message to baby, they're going to adjust, they're going to learn. And usually baby's much happier to be able to do it by themselves because they can go back to sleep like that instead of it taking an hour and a half in the middle of the night, walking them around the house.
I can tell you though, how many parents I have talked to after this, and they still said, no, it's not going to work. Not with my kid. We've tried everything. They're 4 and it's still the same.
Yep, I hear that all the time. And I just say, give it a chance. Hey, if you've already tried everything, what's one more thing? Just try it. You might be surprised.
And let's talk about the packages that you offer. You offer a variety of them ranging from $75 all the way to almost $1,300. What exactly do you do?
Yeah, so it really is based on your confidence level and what you need to be successful. I offer, like you said, the $75 Ask Me Anything call. So that's going to be about a 45-minute to an hour-long phone call where you get to ask me any and every question you have. I'm going to give you the answers that you need to actually see results, and then you implement it on your own. So you're free to use the information or not, up to you. But result is going to be based on how much you follow through with what I told you. Then I have a sleep package. It's by far the most popular. It's about $400. And that's going to be where I kind of dive in deep with you. I send you a questionnaire. I develop a plan for you and your baby. I come over to your house and do the consultation. Typically takes an hour, hour and a half. Then when you start the plan, I stick around for about 2 to 3 weeks phone calls, emails, support to help keep you consistent, stay on track, and to give you that confidence to say, hey, keep doing what you're doing, it's working. Then if you really need full support on night one, I do offer an overnight package where we do the consultation and then I stay in the home all night long. Half night, full night, whatever you decide you need. This is really going to be for families that just need that extra support in real time. They want to know, okay, I'm doing it right. This is going to work. And she's right here if I need her.
And you said you do not advocate quiet out.
No. And I always say there are going to be tears. Saying it's not cried out does not mean they're not going to cry. They're going to cry because we're changing their normal. The difference here is I'm not going to tell you to just put your baby in the room and walk out the door. What's the point, right? I want you to be in the room with your child. I think it brings them a lot of comfort. It sends a message that, hey, you're fed, you're bathed, you're changed, you're loved. Now go to bed.
But that's only for a limited amount of time. That's only for how long of a period?
Yeah, for a few nights. So I'm going to keep you in the room until baby gets confident. And as your baby gets more confident putting themselves to sleep, then we get you out of the room to where you can go from having to take 2 hours to get your baby to sleep to laying them in bed, turning out the light, walking out the door. And then you get some alone time with your partner in the evening. People are always amazed. They're like, I have me time again. I forgot what this was like.
So when you do that, though, you say you have to be in the room. You don't mean pick them up and hold them and let them sleep on your shoulder. That's not what you mean by being in the room. Can you give us an example?
Right.
What when I walk in and the baby is crying?
Sure. So I absolutely advocate for both verbal support and physical support, not picking them up, but absolutely patting their bottom, holding their hand, stroking their hair. Most babies are going to find a patting very soothing. Talking to them, saying it's time to go to the night, singing them a lullaby, humming, shushing. There are all kinds of support that you can give while still sending the message that now we sleep in our crib.
So you're going to be there for those first few nights just to let them know that you're present, but you're going to leave them in the bed the entire time. And then hopefully by the night, are things going to get any better?
Yes, they do. So I hear all the time, well, I can get my baby to sleep. That's not the problem. I just can't keep them asleep. And I always say, if it takes you 2 hours to put them to bed, when they wake up in the middle of the night, they're looking for all of that again. They don't know how to put themselves to sleep. And we all wake up every about 45 minutes to an hour. Every single one of us, we have a sleep cycle. Babies can usually connect 1, sometimes 2, and then they wake up fully. They're fully conscious and they start to cry because they're looking for the bottle. They're looking to be swaddled. They're looking for that pacifier, whatever it is that they used at bedtime to initially go to sleep. So if we can get them to fall asleep on their own without needing any of those things, then in the middle of the night, they're not looking for it. So they're able to put themselves back to sleep quickly and independently. We need to teach them how to do that, though.
Now, Rajal, so we have 5 minutes left. So two big questions from viewers. One from Deanne, and she wants to know about regression. Is that something that you can fix?
Absolutely. So the only true sleep regression we have is at 4 months, okay? Our brain chemistry actually changes and we start to cycle. This is when I get most of my phone calls because I had a great sleeper. Now they're waking up 3 or 4 times a night. That's the true sleep regression. You absolutely can teach them how to go back to sleeping through the night, but it usually involves removing a lot of those props we've discussed. A lot of times when people come to me and they have an 18-month-old or a 2-year-old and they're using words like regression, I always ask, did they recently learn how to pull up, to walk? Are they talking a lot more since this happened? And I usually hear, yeah, actually they are. So I tell them, hey, you know what? This isn't actually a sleep regression. This is a developmental milestone, and they just need more practice during the day. A lot of times, if you give them those opportunities to walk a lot during the day or practice crawling, practice rolling, talk to them, and they get all of that out during the day, then they go back to sleeping through the night.
The other thing is older kids. I think as babies, we expect them to cry and we expect we're going to be up all night. But once they get a little older and they're still coming to your bedroom and they can't sleep all night long, can they still be trained?
Yes. Now, it is much harder. It's not going to be quite as easy because they're not in a crib and they're not stuck in there, right? They can get up. So it takes a lot more effort on the parent's part because you have to be consistent, right? You're going to hear me say that so many times, but it's really the key to it working. If you take them back to their bed every time they wake up, eventually they are going to stay. And there's a lot of other things that go into it. But what happens if your 6-year-old knows that by 4:30 in the morning, you're going to give in and just let them get into their bed, they're not going to have any motivation to stay in their own. So it really you have to be so ready. You're going to lose a few nights of sleep. But if you can hang in there, then you'll start to see those results.
And same thing for older kids. So it would only take 3 to 7 days to train them.
Typically, I mean, with an older child, it really comes down to their will. Of course, they've got a little bit of a stronger will. I hang around with my older kids. Instead of 2 weeks, I hang around for about 3 weeks just to make sure we iron everything out. But typically, you're going to see major improvement still in those 3 to 5 nights, and then we iron out the kinks.
Okay, excellent. How do people get a hold of you if they want to talk to you?
Absolutely. So I have a website, www.a2zzzsleepsolutions.com. I also have a local number here, 210-504-8873. And you can email me anytime, a2zzzsleepsolutions@gmail.com.
Michelle Munoz, sleep pediatric consultant. Everyone, yes, it is a thing. I hope you go back and watch the interview if you missed it. There's also a story that aired this morning that is posted now, and I talk more with Rochelle about everything as well there. So if you want to catch that. Rochelle, good to see you again. Thank you for all your help with our little Bella. She's doing good, so that's good.
Glad to hear it.
And have a great day. Be safe. Thank you.
You too. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone. Thank you for joining us today.